A regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees for the McAllen Independent School District will be held Monday, June the 19th, 2017, beginning at 5 p.m. in the Boardroom Administration Building of the McAllen Independent School District, 2000 North 23rd Street, McAllen, Texas. It is now 5:02, and we may have discussion and action by the board on the items and subjects listed as follows. Item number 1, convene an open session. Item number 2, recess to closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to Section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 to the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. A, human resource recommendations for the school year 2017-2018. B, human resource employee resignation for the school year 2016-2017. C, elementary language arts coordinator. D, repurpose job description for accounting coordinator. E, possible and or potential litigation. And F, possible real estate acquisition. The regular business portion of this meeting for the public, beginning with agenda item number 3, will begin at approximately 6 p.m. So at 5:03 p.m., we will recess to closed session. At 6:02 p.m., and we are reconvening the 5 o'clock meeting, regular board meeting that in open session. For the record, no action was taken by the board in closed session. At this time, we are going to ask Trustee Danny Vela to lead us in the invocation.
If everyone would please stand. Lord God, creator of all, remind us now of your guiding presence. Open our minds to the ideas and opportunities before us, and fill our hearts with compassion and generosity for each other. We pray this day for the well-being and success of our children, our colleagues, our families, and our community. Open our mind to the task at hand. Open our ears to each other, and open our hearts to your will. Bless each of us and grant us wisdom as we work to make decisions that will affect our children today and in the years to come. Be with us and lead us throughout this day. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now we will ask Trustee Marco Suarez to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will move on to item 6, the public meeting to discuss the 2017-2018 budget and proposed tax rate. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the public meeting. In this meeting, we'll be discussing the 2017-2018 budget and proposed tax rate. And Ms. Garcia will proceed with the presentation.
Good evening. Thank you, President Forina, Ms. Aliceda, and gentlemen of the Board of Trustees, as well as Dr. Gonzalez. Texas Education Code and Board Policy CE requires that the district prepare a budget of anticipated expenditures and revenue on or before June 19th. The public meeting is the final step in this budget development process. This meeting shall serve as a final opportunity for our public to be able to review the budget that has been prepared by the district, the proposed budget. This PowerPoint will contain a summarized version of all of the work that has gone behind developing this process, this 6-month process for the 17-18 budget. Ms. Richards, our Chief Financial Officer, is in the audience right now, and she has copies of the PowerPoint presentation. Should any member of the public wish to have a copy, if you can please raise your hand if you so desire one.
So if we have members of our community that are in the boardroom now that would like a copy, just put your hand in the air and we'll have Ms. Richards get one to you.
The public is allowed to comment after the presentation, so we will have time for a question and answer session at that point, or comments. And we'll now begin the public meeting to discuss the budget and proposed tax rate for 2017-2018 school year. I'd like to acknowledge our Board of Trustees for their participation and support during the budget development process. I'd also like to thank our Superintendent, Dr. J.A. Gonzalez, as well as the executive leadership team for their participation as well. I would especially like to thank and acknowledge the efforts of our Chief Financial Officer and her team, Ms. Cynthia Medrano Richards, in the preparation of this budget process. Guiding us through the development of our budget is, of course, our district's vision and mission statement. That is provided for you in the PowerPoint. And these are the guiding principles that we utilize as we work with the different campus principals and department directors to keep in mind to propose a budget that would ultimately support the district goals. The notice of public meeting to discuss the budget and proposed tax rate was published in the Monitor on June 7th, 2017. The PowerPoint shows a copy of the notice as it was advertised, and this was made available to the public, giving them information on the proposed tax rate, as well as comparing the proposed budget with last year's budget. There's also a section on there that identified the appraised value and the total taxable value, the bonded indebtedness, and a comparison of proposed rates with last year's rates. There was also a proposed comparison of proposed levy with last year's levy on average residents, a notice of the rollback rate, and the estimated fund balances. The chart that you see before you is the budget summary report. Once this proposed budget is approved by the board, this document will be placed on our district website for all the public to view throughout the year. The budget summary is reported at a functional level. It's a comparison of the 16-17 actual budget versus the 17-18 proposed budget for fiscal year beginning July 1st and ending on June 30th. And it's a side-by-side comparison with the aggregate expenditures assigned to each one of the functions and the per pupil expenditures. In accordance with House Bill 5 and Texas Education Code 29.081, the district is also required to separately budget and prioritize state compensatory education funding. This would be funding that's necessary to sufficiently support the cost of additional accelerated instruction for students who may fail to perform satisfactorily on an end-of-course assessment. The district has budgeted $296,215 for accelerated instruction funds for 17-18. The board approves the budget on a functional level. Funds that require board approval are the general fund, the debt service fund, and also capital projects. However, the district does not, at this time, does not have a capital projects budget. So what you see on this chart would be the general fund and the debt service fund. The functions are also listed on the very first column, beginning with function 11, which is instruction and so forth. Total appropriations for the general fund are $235,281,400, and the total appropriations for debt service is $9,893,200, bringing the total budget at $245,174,600. I will now share with you some additional charts that provide more financial data. This chart that you see provides the two-year budget comparison of revenues, and it's grouped by object codes for those revenues. As you can see, the budget was planned on an average daily attendance of 22,153.90. And we are estimating a 96% collection rate for the total tax levy. We're also planning the budget based on a maintenance and operation tax rate of $1.15.50 and an interest and sinking tax rate of 0 cents. The per-student revenues for 17-18 are projected to be at $10,640. The chart shows the two-year comparison, and it's grouped by the object code for the general fund and debt service. The local revenues, as you can see, account for 35.80% of revenues, while the state pays for 56.09%, and our federal revenues are at 8.11%. Other resources include a tax transfer from the general fund to interest and sinking. There's a contribution of $2,209,717 and $750 from general fund and assigned fund balance for debt service, for a total of $2,959,717. The next chart breaks out the same information by fund, and you see the respective funds for the general fund and debt service, and of course the capital projects, which we do not have any at this time. So it's another way of looking at the same information. This chart, it compares the appropriations from the 17-18 versus the 16-17 school year, budget year. Again, these appropriations, much like the revenues chart, are listed by object code. Each object code will list the percentage of the total budget. For example, you see payroll cost, $6,100. If you look towards the middle of the chart, right above the graphs, you see payroll cost percent of total less declared disaster is at 79.97. It's one of the goals of, or financial priorities of the district of Goal 4 to maintain payroll costs at or below 80%. So this budget does meet that financial priority. And then the chart will illustrate the breakdown of the appropriations by the different class objects.
Any questions for Mrs. Garcia so far?
The only thing, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
On the revenue side, where you noted the federal, state, and local revenue sources, it's probably appropriate to mention that the state funding has gone down in the most recent years, and it's projected to go even lower in the coming years. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. As property values increase, there's an over-reliance on the state, on local property values to fund public education. So there's an inverse relationship between local revenues, property taxes, and state aid. So as local revenues increase from those increased appraised values, so does the state share decrease. So you are correct. If you look at the two columns on the chart, will show that last year for 16-17, local revenues accounted for 33% of the share of educating our McAllen ISD students, whereas this year that share has increased to 35.8. So local is picking up a greater share because we did see a 3.5 increase in property values. So then the state share dropped. As you can see, the state share last year was, or for this current year, was 57.40, and for the 17-18 school year, it's decreased to 56.09, and we see that trend continuing. And that's something that's happening across the state.
That was my next point, was to be sure that it's something that happens in not just our region, but it's statewide. The state is pushing more of the responsibility to the local school districts, while mandating us to spend more of our own money.
Yes, that is correct.
On programs that they want us Thank you.
Mr. Suarez.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. And I don't know if there's an exact answer, but I know a lot of us, or a lot of people think that because the property tax or property tax is increasing, many people think that we're generating more income, which is true. But at the same time, like you've just explained, we lose state funds. Is there a formula, the percentage that if we increase a certain percentage, we lose a certain percentage? Is there a certain number that the state uses? Or how do we quantify?
Well, the way that the state accounts for the local share is they go by the comptroller's property value study of the previous year. So they take that figure, which is pretty much aligned with, it's a year behind our Hidalgo County Appraisal District value. So they take that figure and then they deduct a percentage that, using that as a basis. Once they account for our what they consider is necessary for educating the children of McAllen ISD, knowing that we have certain populations that may require additional funding, so that's why we have a weighted system of funding. Some students are allocated a greater weight in funding, so they take that, and once they've calculated what that number is, then they'll reduce it by what they consider the local share based on that comptroller's property assessment from the previous year. And the district does every year appeal those property values to get that reduced to a, what we feel is a more fair and accurate number every year. On our behalf, our delinquent tax attorney will appeal those values, and we have received additional state funding as a result of those appeals. So we're doing everything we can as a school district to get as much assistance that is rightfully so for our children in McAllen ISD.
Okay, thank you.
One question.
Mr. Esparza.
Ms. Garcia, right on that same chart, wow, that's loud. It shows where our state revenues dropped by about 3.6 million, right? And I noticed the federal revenues also dropped to about the same, let's see, 22.6 to 19.1, so it's about 3.5 million also, right?
Yes, sir, and that is as a result because this current year for 16-17, the district, applied for E-rate funding in the amount roughly about 3.5 million more than what we will be applying for for this coming year, and that's as a result of we had some major network infrastructure upgrades that necessitated us applying for that additional federal funding. Since those projects have been completed, that's something you do once every 5 years. That's why you see the decrease.
So the result of the decrease in federal money is not due to weighted averages for students, but it had to do with the E-rate.
Primarily, it's due to the E-rate.
Okay.
Yes.
And on that same chart, the first row across where it has the local revenues, it went from, in the local part, from 78,200,000 to 84. So that's where the state is picking up, or the local revenues are picking up the additional 6 million that the state is cutting back, correct?
Yes, yes, you're correct. We had having an increase in our local revenue, so then because of the way the foundation school formulas are, as that increases, then the state decreases the share that they provide the district.
But overall, net, and on the total there, the net, we're down about $1 million, is that correct? From 236.8 to 235.7?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions? Please continue, ma'am.
Okay, the next chart will continue to break down the same information on a functional level. It compares it lists the percentages. So, for example, for instruction and instructional leadership, which is the bulk of our appropriations, go to that function. It's 62.32%. These percentages are also shown on the chart below. This illustrates that same information on a graphical basis. So as you can see, Function 10, which encompasses instruction and instructional leadership, is the greater share of our expenditures. Whereas you could see Function 41, which is your administrative cost, that's 2.82% in the 17-18 budget in comparison, as an example. And then the next chart is very similar information. However, that breaks down the functional level even further. Function 10 has now been further subdivided into Function 11, 12, and 13. And you can see respectively where those percentages of appropriations fall within the given functions. And then it also provides a comparison how that compares to the 16-17 budget. This next chart is a budget summary for special and proprietary funds. Now, these funds are only for information purposes. These do not require board approval like the general fund and the debt service and capital projects fund. So this information is being provided to the board and the community as an information item. And this is where you would see, federal funds and campus activity funds and regional school for the deaf funds. And then the next chart provides the proprietary funds. And again, these also are funds that are for information purposes only, that do not require board approval. And we have on here the Project Safe and Secure funding, revenues and appropriation, as well as our print shop, for a total of $583,000 in revenues and appropriations.
Mr. Esparza.
Lorena, real quickly, on that previous chart, the regional school, day school for the deaf, that one had a decrease of about $800,000. What was that decrease due to? Was it the enrollment?
That it didn't. Actually, that's not a decrease. The first column shows the revenues, which is the tuition that we're taking in, and then the appropriations. The appropriations, they are dipping into their fund balance in the amount of $796,015 to make up that difference versus from the revenue versus appropriation. So that's an area that we may want to look at next year to see if the tuition rate is appropriate still for the level of services that are being offered.
Thank you.
And then this next chart illustrates the district's property tax rate history. Now it provides a very good picture since 2001 to 17-18 proposed tax rate. And I'd like to call your attention to the last 3 years. As you can see, the proposed tax rate has not changed. We are continuing with $1.15.5 total tax rate. So the local taxpayer will not see an increase with this proposed budget. You can see that from 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, we have the same total tax rate, which again, this is what property owners utilize to calculate their property taxes that are due. However, you have two columns for maintenance and operations and interest and sinking. And the difference between the 3 years that we're looking at the bottom, as you can see, the last 2 years, 16-17, the current year, and 17-18 proposed year, we're proposing zero tax rate for interest and sinking, and then maintenance and operation would be at $1.15.5. And the reason we're doing that is because this 17-18, just like in 16-17, the district was affected by a severe weather incident the year prior. And so what that does is the law allows for the district to increase their maintenance and operation tax in order to make the necessary repairs as a result of the weather incident, and it's a one-time tax swap, if you will. In our case, the district had the option to increase maintenance and operations. However, we did not want to propose any change that would impact our local taxpayers. So as the district increased maintenance and operations tax, so did they simultaneously decrease the interest and sinking fund. So the net result to the local taxpayers is that they're paying the same total tax rate. However, in that discussion that we were talking about, the state share decreasing, this is one way that we can get additional revenues from the state. The net result of that tax swap is $7 million, and we're using that funding is being appropriated for one-time use projects, of course, making any necessary repairs to our facilities as a result of the weather storms. But in addition to that, other types of improvement projects to our district and instructional programs. So that's one way that the district is, leveraging the Foundation School Program formulas to gain additional revenue from the state without impacting our local taxpayers. And we're only able to do this one-time shot because of this weather incident. And for 18-19, we will have to revert back to $1.04 on the maintenance and operation, much like you see in 15-16. And 11.5 cents on our interest and sinking fund. So we're looking at possibly not seeing that extra additional $7 million that we had this year from state funding.
So even if there isn't a weather situation, we have one in the Gulf now, let's say it hits us and we get another disaster declaration, we're unable to transfer those pennies for next year.
If there is another disaster, and it doesn't have to just be a disaster, but the governor has to declare it a disaster, number one, and then two, they have to request federal funding from the U.S. government for that disaster. And then if that were the case, then the district could opt to do the declared disaster tax rate option once again.
Okay. Mr. Esparza.
The $7 million that you said we netted, that was the result of the 16-17 school year. We're proposing the tax swap again for 17-18, which would net how much for the district?
The $7 million is for 17-18. 16-17, it was about 6.9, a little bit less. Okay. 17-18, and the reason it's higher now is because the state has increased their Austin yield. The value for the golden pennies has increased from $77 to $99. So we did see an increase there, and as a matter of fact, next year they will be going up once again to I believe it's $101.
Any other questions? If you continue, ma'am.
This next chart is, speaks to the assessed values, and Mr. Suarez earlier had a question, what figure does the state utilize to calculate what the state's share is versus what the local share is. And on here you see the first row is the Hidalgo County Appraisal District certified value, which is provided by our local officials. And as you can see, the first three columns indicate the audited values for those fiscal years, and then you have the current budget. And then for the proposed for 2018, we're looking at HCAD certified value of $7.2 billion. And then, as you can see, it's an increase of 3.52% from the previous year. And then when you look at the Texas Comptroller value, that's the value that they use to calculate what the state shares. So it behooves the district to challenge that value and to get it as low as possible so that we can get additional revenue from the state. So that value for 2018 that we're using to calculate this budget is $6.8 billion. And you can see how it's a year behind, because you see that for 2019 projected, it jumps up to a little closer to the $7.2 billion that we're using on HCAD, jumps up to $7. so and so forth. So the projected columns are just looking out into the future. You know, if we were to see a 3.52 increase, that's what those numbers would look like. And that concludes the presentation on my part. If at this time anybody has any questions from the board or from the public, I'll turn it over to our president.
Any questions from the board for Ms. Garcia? No questions from the board? Any public comment questions? Those in attendance today? With that being said, thank you very much, Ms. Garcia.
Thank you.
It is now 6:30, so we are going to recess our 5 o'clock meeting, open our 6:15 public comment special board meeting. We are going to adjourn our 5 p.m. meeting, thank you, Mr. Vela, to open our 6:15. We're going to recess, open our 6:15 and adjourn since we have no speakers.
I'll take care of it, Tony.
Thank you, sir. And we will continue with our 5 o'clock meeting. And it is time to do our recognitions. This is a recognition of the McAllen Memorial High School golf team. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Mustang pride runs deep at McAllen Memorial High School. The golf team once again repeated a championship year, and Dr. Barrera and Coach Paula Gonzalez will announce the lineup.
Starting off the introduction of our team, we start off with junior C.W. Phillips. Senior Trevor Kusha. Junior Ross Gonzalez. Junior Colton Henderson. Junior Trey Mikalik. Freshman Raul Gonzalez. Our head coach, Coach Celso Gonzalez. With a little gift, I see. And our boys athletic coordinator, Coach Bill Littleton.
Congratulations to the Memorial Boys Golf Team for being back-to-back 3-time District 36A champions. We recognize our team tonight for their great accomplishments. The Mustangs had the 4th best team average in the Valley for the 2016-2017 school year as a result of their teamwork, their hard dedication, and hard work and consistency.
Under individual accomplishments, Ross Gonzalez is a 3-time regional qualifier and received 36A All-District Honorable Mention. Colton Henderson received 36A All-District First Team Honors, and he is also a 2-time regional qualifier.
Yes, sir.
Freshman Raul Gonzalez received 36A All-District Second Team Honors and qualified for regionals his first year of varsity golf. Trevor Kusha is a team captain and received 36A All-District First Team Honors, and he is a 4-time regional qualifier. C.W. Phillips is a 36A District Gold Medalist champion. He is the District 36A Most Valuable Player, made First Team All-Valley for 2017. He is also a 2-time regional qualifier. He placed 4th overall out of 96 participants at the Region 4 golf tournament this year. He was the first of the 3 individuals to qualify for the 2017 UIL State Golf Tournament in Georgetown, Texas from Region 4 and was tied for 21st out of 72 6A golfers in the state of Texas. Congratulations to all.
Congratulations. Coach Celso Gonzalez would like to thank all of his parents and the Mustang family for their strong support for Mustang Golf. A very special thanks to his senior captain, Trevor Kusha, for being a 4-time regional qualifier and being true and loyal to the Golf Mustang program. We wish him the very best in his new chapter of life that he will be entering. We love you very much, Trevor, and truly be missed. Parents, please stand and be recognized, and and you're welcome to take pictures at this time as well.
Students come forward one step.
I'd be liking this hat.
All right, ready? One, two, and one more. 1, 2.
Oh, don't move, parents.
Awesome pig.
So.
Good job, Cole. So proud of you.
Just improved my lungs, brother.
I was playing at Homina Beach and I had 11 putts within 15 feet. All of them. On 18, I had one. Couldn't believe it.
Job, I got one. Thanks, bro. Good job, Coach.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
All right, trustees, let's get back to work with our board member, board committee, and district reports. We'll start with item 8A1, instructional services briefing. The chair is Trustee Alvarado.
Good evening. Ms. Crane and I met with Dr. Ibarra today, and we have several items on the agenda. For example, one item being our discussion of the classes approved for no pass, no play. Also, she's got some other items as far as a grant that's benefit our kids and discussion on that and approval of that. So just a lot of great stuff. So thank you, Ms. Ibarra and Dr. Ibarra and her staff for putting everything together. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Alvarado. Item 8A2, business operations briefing. The chair is Trustee Larry Esparza.
Good evening. We met with Dr. No, I got mixed up. Last time I gave the wrong report. We met with Lorena Garcia, I believe, Thursday morning, right over the phone. And my phone signal died halfway through the conversation. Not one of them called me back to see if I was okay. Mr. Vela. There's a whole lot of items that were discussed during the conversation. One of them being, the main one being the proposed tax rate and budget that was discussed earlier. The financial report, approval of the June budget amendments, approval of the MISD policy, compensation and benefits expense reimbursement, and then several items regarding contracts that we have through co-ops and state agencies for purchases, and general legal counsel service, and the rest were all products and services through the state agencies that were discussed and up for approval for this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Esparza. 8A3, the district operations briefing, chaired by Marco Suarez.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had some discussions, some items that are going to be before the board today, one of which is a report from the city of McAllen regarding the water retention discussion that we had at Lincoln Middle School. We're also going to have the report regarding the facilities, a couple of items to vote on, the sales of vending, a couple of other items, and also some discussion on PTO from Ben Milan bringing forth a donation.
Thank you, Trustee Suarez. Item 8A4, the HR Human Resources briefing. The chair is Trustee Debbie Crane Aliceda.
Yes, sir. We were in San Antonio at our school board training at TASB, so both trustee Suarez and myself called in separately and spoke with Mr. Miller. It's two short things on the agenda, and we'll elaborate as we get to them.
All right, I appreciate that. So moving on to item 8B1, it is the report regarding the proposed stormwater regional retention facility at Lincoln Middle School. Before we do, we'd like to recognize that the city of McAllen has some hazing and initiating going on. They've sent the newbies, Commissioner Omar Quintanilla and Commissioner J.J. Zamora. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. There you go.
Mr. President, if they can bring the check that they give us?
Well, let's see if they got permission to bring a big check like that. Dr. Gonzalez, the details, please.
Yes, sir. This evening, the City of McAllen brings a report about a proposed stormwater drainage project, and Dr. Barrera will introduce our guests. This is for information only.
Yes, and good evening, everybody, and happy Father's Day to all Board of Trustees and Mrs. Aliceda as well.
Thank you, sir.
I've got with us this evening Mrs. Yvette Barrera. She's from the city of McAllen, and she's got a report. This is not the original report that we submitted at the time of the writing. We had submitted the report that we had from our previous meeting back in October. She has updated it and put a little more color to it, as it looks like, and so she's good to go with this one. So here's a revised report from Mrs. Barrera.
All right. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. So previously, when I was before y'all, we had presented the Pecan Boulevard and North 27th Street drainage improvements, and I had advised that was a hazard mitigation grant program for which we were approved funding for. We can go forward. I'd like to take just a step back, and at the meeting, the board had asked us several questions, and we submitted a response in writing February of this year. And so I just wanted to briefly go over that response and then just briefly go through the presentation as well. So the City of McAllen has a storm drainage master plan for proposed improvements to address flooding throughout the city, and the total amount of that cost for those improvements is approximately $40 million. So in order to address these concerns, we can't address them with our normal everyday funds. We have been proactive in seeking grant opportunities. One program where we have had much success is FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, which funds 75% of project costs. The program, however, requires an extensive application process, and this is to ensure that projects are sized according to the benefit that they will provide. The presentation, or the slide before you, shows that Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. For this particular grant opportunity, there was a disaster declared on Memorial Day 2015, which opened up funds to the state. And the City of McAllen applied for that funds. Even though the disaster didn't occur in our city, we were able to submit on a competitive basis for those funds. We weren't the top, say, contenders because it was not in our location, but it still gave us the opportunity to apply for the funds. I would like to say we submitted 4 projects for funding, and we were approved for all 4 of those projects. This particular project, the Pecan and 27th, was one, and in total we have been approved for a little over $5 million worth of drainage projects. Those are approved on a 75% FEMA funding and 25% local funding, and the $5 million is the total amount. So when we're looking at this and at the questions that y'all had asked us previously, the way that FEMA does the evaluation for these projects is it's based on a benefit cost analysis, and it was developed so that the entities are required to prove that the benefits to the community, the cost for the repairs to the surrounding residential and commercial properties, are greater than the cost of the improvements. So we can't just go in and size a project that is not appropriate for what we're mitigating. And so when we look at this, we have to carefully decide what improvements we're going to propose, because they have to be relative to the damage that's occurring in the area. And so, as I stated previously, we do have a great need for drainage improvement projects in the city, and we continually proactively seek funding sources for this. We're before you because this particular project is on a school property, and we're proposing a city project on that property. At the meeting that we had before, well, let me just go through that really quickly. So these are some pictures that we took from previous events that showed the flooding, and these were actually pictures that were submitted with the grant application to FEMA.
Now, just Just to clarify, those pictures said from October 2009, so this wasn't the event Memorial Day 2015?
No, and actually, we weren't impacted by that event
Okay.
at all, which is why I stated we weren't necessarily high on the list to gain the funding, but we submitted sufficient backup and documentation to prove that the projects were worthy of that funding, of that FEMA funding.
Real quick, but those actual pictures there then are about 8 years old? Is that what that's saying?
Yes, one is 2009 and the other is 2012.
Okay.
And so one of the concerns that was raised was whether we looked at other project sites that were in the vicinity of this area. In particular, I think there were a couple of locations that were discussed. One was the vacant property east of the tract between Walgreens and the Stutz Auto Center. That area is not in the contributing drainage basin, and it's not hydraulically connected to the storm system, so that was not a viable option. The other tracks that you asked us if we had considered was the southwest corner of Pecan and North 27th and the southeast corner of Pecan and North 28. We also examined those areas, and those wouldn't allow for the floodwater to freely drain into the existing downstream system. So we did look at other options, and they were not considered feasible to address the drainage concerns in this area. Another concern that was raised at the meeting was whether the area could be modified in the future. Normally, when FEMA does projects, they're done in perpetuity, so they need to remain in place. I posed the question informally to the Texas Division of Emergency Management representative that assists us with these projects, and he advised that modifications can be made, and so if there are improvements that occur in the area, they can be done. However, the intent of the project's original purpose must be maintained. So we would have to mitigate. We would have to still provide for that detention area somehow, but it can be modified. It cannot be eliminated, but it can be mitigated through another method. We can go to the next slide. And so this is the project area, and this was the one option of what we were looking for at detention. And so what we're looking at for this particular location, it's a stormwater detention facility with an inlet structure draining water into it, and an outlet structure collecting it and taking it back to Pecan. And the area that we're basically looking for at a depth of 4 feet is 1.4 acres of detention with side slopes of 6 to 1. And so, as we had discussed before, we can go to the next slide. There are different options.
Before you move on, going back to that previous slide, on that one is the green triangle that's there. Are you proposing the area would be what's within the triangle or
Within it.
around the triangle?
Within it.
Within it.
Yes,
Okay.
within it. And so it's not, the project has not been designed, so we have the award of the grant and we know the parameters that we're looking at, but we can make modifications to the actual design. And the next slide shows a couple of options that we were considering to address the concerns, and we had presented these previously. It could be modified. It doesn't have to be in the triangular shape. It could be in a different configuration, as long as we're able to maintain that volume and connect to that inlet and outlet structure that were shown in the previous slide. So these are two other possible options. Again, it could be configured almost in any way, as long as we're able to hold that volume.
On the, I guess the one on the left there, you're right, the red, how wide is that?
It's 88 feet. I think it's hidden in the text.
No,
but
I'm
it's
sorry,
88
I
feet
guess
wide.
from Pecan into the property.
North and south, not east and west.
The location doesn't matter. We can place it right along the property line. It can't be within Pecan, just state right away. It has to be.
I know, but how wide would it be? I mean, you did a design there.
We have a width of 88 feet, and I think they just randomly placed the location. So you could say 20 feet, 10 feet off of it, off of the property line.
I understand off of the property line. How wide though?
So you have the length at
88
88 feet, but you have the width of,
The length is 682, and the width is 88
okay.
feet.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yvette, is there another, I'm sorry.
I'm done, yeah.
Is
Trustee
there
Alvarado.
another project that's similar to this, that you currently have already, or something that I can visually make the connection to, or would this be the first? Well, McAuliffe wouldn't be, it would be too deep, I would think.
Right, it's somewhat fashioned after the other stormwater detention
But
facilities, but
obviously
this
not
is much shallower.
You
Much
said
shallower.
4 feet, right? Or
Yes,
you
sir.
said, right.
Yes, so it's a much smaller version.
So it'd
of
just
that.
be, would it be basically just the 4 feet? Would there be anything, any shrubs or anything like that? It'd just be the actual
It'd be a grassed area. I think the option that we had originally presented, the triangular shape, was to allow more area in the bottom so that it could be used for practice fields or, whatever other purpose it can be used for that. But because of the concerns raised, we did some other options to narrow it so that we could show you what that would look like on the property.
You done, Mr. Arvado?
Yes, sir.
Trustee Suarez.
But I'm going to give you some hypotheticals. So in the event that let's say we'd want to build a building there, what would the city require us to do in terms of putting a retention out there?
Okay, so detention would be required on the site.
Right.
And the detention would have to connect to our existing stormwater system. It really depends on what you're looking to put on it and how much of that project is going to be impervious area. So how much asphalt and rooftop are you going to put on it?
So
that increases the amount of detention. I did a rough, in anticipation of that question.
There you go.
I did a rough estimate, and we're looking at approximately 33,000 cubic feet of detention based on our current requirements.
And so let's say we look at the picture on the right. How many cubic feet is that?
Did you say yellow or red, sir?
So to give
Gold.
just to give you an idea, looking at that, at the length of approximately the 682 feet that we have there, we're looking at a width of approximately 24 feet to meet your detention requirements, including the side slopes.
So it's fair to say, I'm trying to help you here, but it's fair to say that if we were to build a building, we're basically getting that for free.
Well, the detention that's provided there, we would have to go back and maybe size a little bit larger to compensate the additional detention, because this is just taking into account the existing area. And so we may need to widen it a little bit more. It wouldn't have to be the 24 feet width. The reason that that's 24 feet is you have the side slopes, and so that takes away some of the volume. And if we're just widening it from the bottom portion, that's the rectangular area, it can hold more water there. So we would have to widen it. I didn't run that calculation to see what that would look like, but it would need to be slightly larger.
So here's the kicker question. Hypothetically, would the city be willing to come back and if we were to do that, help us with the additional amount of space that we might need? You don't have to answer that.
Something I can look into. I don't have
The
that.
two rookies said yes.
I don't have the answer to that at this time, but that is certainly something that we can look at.
Okay.
Trustee Vela.
The grant, though, I wouldn't be able to use the grant money to do it.
Thank you, Ms. Barrera, for coming back with your presentation. Thank you for bringing the distinguished gentleman with you so we can help him, if you would. And thank you for answering the questions that we had gone over at the last meeting. And I think one of the questions that we had gone over was if we took a projection or a presentation like the orange schematic that you have up there, we would be able to traverse that with some type of a bridge structure. Is that correct?
We could do just a pipe culvert. Just put a pipe, connect the area, and you can drive over it, yes.
Because if we either sell that piece of property or decide to build on it, the city's going to require or only let us put in a certain ingress and egress?
Yes, sir. The city has an access management policy that dictates the driveway spacing, and so, yes.
So if we went with that configuration, there could be an adaptation to the pond where we could drive over it to access the property from the center, say, of that particular area?
Yes, sir.
That's correct. Okay. And if we don't approve this, then it would be the school district's nickel or whoever buys the piece of property's nickel to build a retention pond to the tune of about $260,000, right?
I'm not sure where that amount is coming
I thought we
from.
discussed that figure when we talked about last time. The cost of the pond itself was about $260,000.
Okay, so that's the cost of this project, but for your own detention, it would be a different figure if you're not considering to do this project.
Project cost aside, it would be on the school district's nickel
Yes,
or
sir.
whoever buys the property. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So we're investing in the property by letting the city put it in, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Esparza.
The detention pond has to hold so many cubic feet, so you could probably shorten it or so if you went deeper, or you can't go deeper than 4 feet in that area?
We can go deeper. Part of it has to do with where the depth of our outfall structure. If I go deeper than our outfall structure, then I'm going to be holding water, there'll be mosquitoes. If I go too deep, then I need to put in a pump, which is more cost and maintenance to do. So we're looking at the depth of the outfall structure so that we can be able to, with gravity outflow.
Gravity will flow up.
So we can maybe adjust it once we get that exact calculation of how deep the outfall, the elevation of how deep that outfall structure is, and we would certainly make it just the size it needs to be. We don't have to go over.
Any further questions?
Just, I'm sorry, one follow-up if I may. And then last question. Who would decide on the configuration?
Well, we would certainly work with your staff so that it is something that you all find reasonable and can work with.
All right.
Trustee Aliceda?
You mentioned that you have, excuse me, you have 4 projects. Are they contingent? You have to do all 4, or can you do 3, 2, or 1 project?
They're not contingent on each other.
Okay, so if this project falls through, you still have the ability to do the other 3 projects?
Yes.
Any further questions?
I just have one for, or do you have more in your presentation? I can wait.
I think the only slides we had was the cost of the project, which showed the overall cost, $238,000. It shows the federal share and the city share. And I believe that's the last slide.
Do you mind if I ask Mr. Trevino a few questions, Chair?
Mr. Trevino, will you step forward, please?
How you doing, Mr. Trevino? You've had a chance to look at this project and work with Ms. Barrera. Is there any, what's your take on it from the district's standpoint?
We look at different options in reference to installing an additional entrance or right-of-way coming off 495. I believe 495 is state-owned, and they would have the ultimate say-so. Even though we're within the city limits, we would have to apply for a permit from the state to be allowed to have access to that area of the campus if we went with the red or orange area. Another question I have is this being built for a 10-year event, 15-year event, 20-year event, and what happens after that?
She said it's a lifetime, though. You're saying how long is it
Yeah,
there
but
for?
Was this one of the floods that?
It's a rain event.
Yes, a rain event.
And so I guess to answer, I don't know if the first one was necessarily a question, but the city of McAllen has authorization from TxDOT, once we adopted our access management policy, to issue driveways on behalf of TxDOT in the city of McAllen. So we still submit the driveway applications to TxDOT, but we actually issue the permits. So you would go through the city and we would process it from there. As far as the detention and storm event, frequency event for this particular event or this particular design, I want to say it's near 25 year. I don't have the exact year event, and part of that is because, as I stated, it's based on that history of flooding that we have. So we didn't necessarily design to a 50, 100 year. We designed to address that flooding situation. And so, but I want to say, my memory serves me right, it's approximately a 25-year event.
Ms. Barrera, who pays for the access? Are we paying for it or y'all paying for it?
The access, there is no...
Well, what you're talking about, I'm sorry, the
Egress.
the egress, yeah, I'm sorry.
If we were to have to add an entrance off of 495.
Right.
There's no fee for a permit, but you would be
the actual-
responsible for the construction of
Okay.
that.
We would.
Yes, sir.
Negotiable.
Mr. Trevino, any other comments, or are you comfortable?
Would we be allowed to connect to this system if in the future the district was to decide to build on the site with no additional fees incurred, or would we share them, or is there a possibility to add some drainage that is at the north of the school that could be tapped in, that we could do and use the same area? Because eventually that whole area drains to the middle and then back south.
Okay.
So that's just something that,
I just have a few more comments. Is there going to be a fence in case there's rain there and our kids are at school? There will be a fence? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I guess my other comment is more for Dr. Gonzalez. We've talked before, Dr. Gonzalez, about having a committee, a couple board members, and a couple city commissioners, and to discuss items like this. This is probably a good opportunity for us to revisit that, because there are still a lot of questions, and that way the city commissioners and we can meet and we can discuss this a little bit more, and negotiate stuff like the cost of the egress. Like Mr. Vela was saying, I think that's a valid point. We'd like to work with you, because I know I sat here 10 years ago, Ms. Vela and I did, and this presented, and we didn't do anything. 10 years is still sitting there, so. If we can work this out, I personally don't have an issue with it, but just my suggestion, Dr. Gonzalez.
Absolutely. I know that I've been in contact with Roy Rodriguez, and we had conversations, and that's really what spurred this presentation again. So we can reach out to the city and get with our crew and come together.
And I'll follow up, Dr. Gonzalez. I've had the conversations with Mayor Darling expressing the same interest of wanting to work together in a cooperative like that.
What I would suggest, Mr. President, is the next meeting is put on the agenda adding those board members from our, so in case y'all do meet in the next 30, 45 days, we can start meeting, because there's a lot of other things we can discuss with y'all. That's all I have, sir.
Trustee Elisela.
You never said your timeline. What's your timeline? When does all the projects have to start? When do they have to finish? When is the funding gone?
So we're doing the design for this project and actually the other 3 projects that we received in-house. And because this is basically a detention facility, it's going to be a fairly simple design. We're pretty confident that we could start working or complete the design by, say, November of this year. We can go out for bids and start construction late December, early January. And we have a time frame of 3 years from when we were awarded to complete construction of all projects.
And you were awarded it when?
October 2016.
Okay. And how long was this project like that take? 3 months, 6 months?
It's less than 6 months. We're probably around the 3 to 4 month time frame.
Okay. Thank you.
You said 3 years to complete it or 3 years to get started on it?
To
3
spend
years
the
to
money.
do everything.
To spend the money that was distributed in October of 16. Any further questions for Ms. Barrera?
I'm just curious if our commissioners want to add any comments since they're here.
Commissioner Quintanilla, Commissioner Zamora?
No,
They're kindly
shaking their head no.
refraining. All right. With that being said, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Ms. Barrera, for your presentation. We appreciate that.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, what's the next step after this?
We are going to, Dr. Gonzalez will get together with City Manager Roy Rodriguez. I'll get together with Mayor Darling. And for our next meeting, we will have the position of a couple of board members partnering up with a couple of the city commissioners so that we can discuss this further in depth.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 8B2, the report regarding facilities maintenance and operations projects. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This is a monthly report from the Facilities Maintenance and Operations Department. Dr. Barrera and Ruben Trevino are here to walk us through this month's projects.
And good evening, everyone. We've got the got a little ahead of myself. The wrong.
President Felina, while he's doing that, is there a way that we can get that PowerPoint that they just presented to us, sent to us?
We will most certainly ask. They've cleared the building already, but
I think we have it.
We have it.
do we have it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Trevino, you'll forward that to us? Thank you, sir.
You're not going to.
Once again, we are coming up on item 8B2, the report regarding facilities maintenance and operations projects, making sure that we've got the right PowerPoint presentation up on the screen for us.
Is this the completed one?
Hopefully not that one.
I thought they were only walnuts, but they're layers.
Okay, we have the correct one here. This is the June 19, 2017 report regarding facilities maintenance operations. We've got Mr. Trevino here all keyed up and good to go, so I'll go ahead and turn it over to him.
And good evening once again. This is a report for the month of June on some of the projects that we've already started.
This is the first one? Oh, this is the second
I'll
one.
just go off the PowerPoint. It's not in the order that that's a completed projects, the VCT installs that we're doing district-wide. Fossum Middle School, the life skill classroom has been fully completed. The portable over at Milam and the gym office have been completed as well. The ongoing project.
Can I clarify, your staff did these? Or was it another project?
Both. It's a combined.
Combined.
We have a contract that we put a bid out for the VCT
Okay.
carpet removal, and we do both. The CTE Kate Shop paintings that have been going on, McHigh, 3 of the classrooms have been redone, and 1 at Rowe High School that's being worked on as well. On the completed projects, there's various irrigation repairs that have been done district-wide, major piping repairs. The irrigation repairs are mostly on the practice fields, playing fields, and water fountain replacements continue on an as-needed basis district-wide, along with the roof leak repairs and the window replacements that we're currently doing.
That's not the one. This is 6.
You have to go to the second one?
This is the one. This is what we had at the time.
On some of the other ongoing projects, even though the slide is not up there, I'm going to report on the asphalt paving projects. The McHigh Bulldog Drive is currently, lime is being put out there as we speak, so that we've got the proctor that has been taken on the sampling, and the density test is scheduled to come in the next couple of days. Another one of the asphalt paving projects is Morris Middle School. Right now, it's at the demo stage. Over at Morris School, we had some questions asked on the parking lot, the configurations, whether they were going to be worked or placed around the existing shade trees that we have there. We'll be doing some trimming so that to allow the heavy equipment to be able to work underneath the areas there. Over on Milam Elementary School, we have a combination of concrete paving for the entrance drive, which is a pickup, drop-off and pickup. That particular concrete drive was poured last Monday. The 7-day test was completed today. We received the reports this afternoon from our testing lab. They were all positive. They were all good. They all met the strength on the concrete. And the contractor's planning on doing the paving hopefully Thursday or Friday, weather permitting, of this week. Some of the other ongoing projects that we have are the McHigh classrooms that several of them are being redone. The Memorial High School classrooms, the Rowe High School classrooms, McHigh, Kate, the Statham press box. There's some painting and some new doors being put up there. The 4 portables that are being moved. One of them was moved already to the Achieve Early College High School on Friday of last week, and the second one is scheduled to be moved hopefully by tomorrow or Wednesday of this week. We also have the yearly parking lot striping going throughout the campuses, along with the fire marshal inspections that we have to go through on a yearly basis for every campus before we open up back for a new school year. We have some HVAC ongoing projects as well. We have the main McAllen Gym HVAC installation going on. The unit is scheduled to arrive on Wednesday of next week. The heavy equipment, the cranes and everything will be set for Wednesday of next week.
Mr. Theory, is that for the gym?
Yes. I met with the contractor earlier today. We're scheduling the crane to come in through a different area and not through the area that's currently under construction, which is Bulldog Drive, so it should not affect any of the new construction. Over at Lincoln Middle School, we replaced 4 package units this last week that needed to get replaced. Those are rooftop units. Memorial High School, we have a 20-ton condenser that's going to be installed in the next weeks to come. Garza Elementary, we replaced an additional 12-ton unit that needed to be replaced. Alvarez has 2 chillers. We've got cranes and the welder on standby for the replacement of both chillers at Alvarez. That'll be the first elementary that we do this summer. That will be a complete shutdown because both chillers are getting replaced at the same time. The other 2 would be one at Travis and one at Roosevelt. And some coils have been replaced also at Rayburn Elementary School that needed to get replaced. Some additional construction projects that we're working on for this summer are the Memorial High School Career and Technology ADA modifications in the restroom area for the Kate area. The warehouse front office safety entrance modification that is about to be completed either today or tomorrow. The portable relocations. We're also working on concrete slabs for 3 freezer coolers that are going to be installed this summer. The freezer coolers are going to be one at Morris, one at Rowe, and one at Travis. We are doing all the electrical work in-house, outsourcing the concrete slabs to a contractor on bids, and working with our food service department for those 3 projects as well. And along with the fire inspections that are happening throughout the district. We also have a computer lab that has been finished already. It's an upgrade over at Thigpen Zavala for a federally funded computer project that is going to take place there. And we're also working on the electrical connections and exterior lighting maintenance district-wide. We also have some additions and renovations over at Jackson in the classroom, along with the nurses station, nurses office that will be relocating towards the front of the campus. For the month of May, we had 1,183 work orders submitted, 881 were completed. One other special acknowledgement that I wanted to share is last week, the South Texas Association of School Maintenance Officials held their annual conference at South Padre Island. We submitted for 2 recommendations for the Maintenance Employee of the Year and the Custodial Employee of the Year for the region or for the area of South Texas. Our HVAC supervisor was selected as the Maintenance Employee of the Year.
All right.
So
Awesome.
he received his award last week.
Is he here?
No. And that's all I have. Apologize for the
Did you get to see
report now. The CDBG, that we just got word on Friday that we're awarding, they're awarding probably about 97 to 98% of the funding, with the exception of $5,000 on a total of 400.
The deal was, originally we put in for $75,000 for each one of these playground sites, and we were awarded $50,000. On Friday, we got word from the CBDG that they had reworked their books, and they were able to award us $70,000 of the $75,000 that we had requested. The only balance would be, on our part, would be about $4,600 on each one of the projects. So this is it was a great day on Friday for us.
Awesome.
From the grant folks, the CDBG.
Those campuses have something already that's just being replaced, or they don't have anything at all?
This is new equipment that's going to get replaced.
So replace
Old being
existing?
replaced with a new, yes.
Excellent. Trustee Suarez.
There's a lot of good work being done. no doubt. But I just have to ask the question because it concerns me that on these list of ongoing projects, there's no science labs. Where are we on that?
On the science labs, we met with our science coordinator, Ms. Nino. We've also been reaching out to several subcontractors or manufacturers of the different cabinetry and chemical-resistant countertops. We've had 2 meetings with 2 different contractors, one of them which is giving us a budget per se, or to be able for us to budget accordingly, and we're working on those figures with them. Right now, from what we're looking at, is we're going to go out for bids for the counter replacements, the countertop replacements, along with the hoods wherever they need to be replaced at the high schools. And by doing that, we've taken I guess, not going out and getting them done in a, how would I put it? By going this route, it's saving us quite a bit of money. We're looking at possibly, at one point from the projections, it was to do 1 or 2 labs at each high school, which was 4 high schools equaling maybe 4, possibly 8. Right now, if we were to go through the bidding process and spec out our countertops, our cabinetry replacements, we're probably looking at a ballpark figure of about $60,000 per lab. So that would allow us to do hopefully between 10 to 12 district-wide, possibly a couple more.
Dr. Gonzalez, I think what my concern is that I thought that when we would discuss this, and we've discussed it in several meetings, that we wanted our science labs to be upgraded and to be, there was going to be some discussion with UTRGV, there was going to be some discussions with STC, and no offense to the work that's being done, Mr. Trevino, but I think that if we were to talk to STC or UTRGV, I don't think they're going to talk to us about countertops and our cabinets. I think they're going to talk about what equipment we need to have in there, what's going to make our science labs accredited, and that our kids are going to have the opportunity to get credits that they deserve because our facilities are up to par. I think that this is something that we've talked about for a while already. We're coming into another year, and it would be sad that our kids wouldn't be able to get that opportunity because we're taking so long on it.
Well, one of the things that Mr. Trevino and I did is we went to Mission to their early college high school, and we were able to look at their labs in their entirety. So we looked at their equipment rooms, their hoods, we looked at their setup, we looked at their overall structure. So it was just beyond the infrastructure, more on the delivery. But we just need to get together with Dr. Ibarra and the crew and continue moving with Ruben to move as fast as we can on it. But we'll do that. So we have been going out. Mission was one that we visited so far. And we saw some good things where they're combining labs and sharing space, sharing equipment rooms and things of that sort. But point taken on we need to speed it up.
And
Trustee Alvarado.
just question for you, Dr. Gonzalez. I know last time on the labs, we had presented to one of the schools, but they passed on that. They didn't want to have anything. Are you working it then from, I just want to clarify, you're working from your end then that it's going to be a district-wide standard, labs going to be equal at every school type of deal?
Yes, sir. We really want to get to a point where we set the standard for labs where every student has the equipment necessary. Not only, talking about triple B balances and things of that sort as far as equipment, but as far as counter space and as far as space to do the maker spaces and everything they need to do to create great labs.
And I mean, I want the feedback from the high schools, but this is not something they're going to dictate as far as whether they want it or not. Because what I don't want is we put in 2 schools and one school's left out, and then it's going to look like we only funded those 2 schools.
No, the plan is to standardize our labs, and we're going to move as fast as we can. I know we've had some money earmarked for it, and it's been sitting there, and we just need to come together and move faster. But it's not going to be a campus-based decision. It's going to be facilities maintenance and operation in conjunction with the CNI and myself, and see what we can do to improve our labs.
And I guess last question is probably for you, Dr. Ibarra. I guess when you do present to us, one of the options should be probably, for my sake, I'll speak for me, is how to proceed during the school year with construction without interfering, if that's possible, which it probably isn't, but I'm just curious then, because I doubt we'll be able to do it this summer. We're probably running out of time, so what's going to be the plan to get in there?
That would be in conjunction with Ruben and the department to see how we can get on a rotation, to see the least invasive type approach.
I understand.
I would have to get with Ruben and the crew.
Thank you.
Trustee Suarez.
Dr. Gonzalez, I will suggest, because I know Mr. Trevino talked about the 12 campuses being uniform, but I would suggest that you start with the 4 high schools. I think that's where it needs most of the work done, just because kids are not getting the credits they need, which would be the IB Lamar, McAllen High School, Memorial, and Nicky Rowe. My suggestion, but I think that would be a much better approach than to worry about the middle schools because of the time issue.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, comments?
Just a clarification on the pavements. Looks good. Yeah, we're going to be done by Games of America. I think you told me we are, right? It's Bulldog Drive?
Yes, the Games of Texas are scheduled for July 26th, I believe, 27th.
Okay.
Yes.
And weather permitting, the way it's looking right now, it should be, pretty close to getting completed by the first week of July.
It'll
Okay.
dry up pretty quickly.
Sir, the last question, Mr. Trevino, is the air condition there at the gym. How long does that process take?
That right now is on the contractor schedule. It's scheduled to be completed around the week of July 15th.
Oh, okay. Plenty of time before volleyball and all that
15th to
starts.
the 20th.
Okay.
However, met with Ms. Gonzalez. I think there's a tournament or something scheduled for first couple weeks of August. So I did advise her to have a plan B in case, something.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Now, when this goes in place too, and I think you told me, and I'm just trying to rectify in my mind, you said it's going to take relief off the air conditioner, the main body. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. President, I'd like to move up item 10C3. Next item on the agenda, please.
Item 10C3, which is the approval of the playground equipment project donation for the playground area at Ben Milam Elementary from Ben Milam Elementary PTO.
Second.
Have a second. Any comments, discussion? Being so, if you'd like to have that moved up, let me hear you say yay.
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 All opposed, same sign. And we are going to reorganize the agenda, bringing forward item 10C3, the approval of playground equipment project donation for the playground area at Ben Milam Elementary from the Ben Milam Elementary PTO. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Once again, the Ben Milam PTO has raised funds for some new playground equipment that will be located near the new pavilion. This evening, we're requesting approval of the donation, and Dr. Beretta has more details. Dr. Beretta?
Yes, sir, and good evening, everybody. And in accordance with board policy CDC local, the board may accept at any time on behalf of the district all the gifts that be given to the district, and at the discretion of the superintendent, the gift may be used for a specific program or a campus. In this case, the Ben Milam PTO membership has raised funds in the amount of $27,000 to purchase and install playground equipment for the playground area over at Ben Milam Elementary. Facilities maintenance and operations will oversee the project in conjunction with the contractor. The contractor has agreed to comply with all district specifications and/or requirements. And I've also attached the completed CDC exhibit form for your review as well. And we have here with us Ms. Sarah Myers. She's our new PTO president, Ben Milam PTO, and she's here to answer any questions that we may have.
Thank you, Ms. Myers, for being here, and congratulations on your presidency. Tell us a little bit about the project.
Well, Gina Millen actually has sent in the proposal, and she's out of town right now, but we have raised funds at, again, $27,000 for new playground equipment, and Mrs. McGurk also earmarked $10,000 extra worth of funds to contribute to the program. So the total cost is $37,000.
$37,000, $10,000 coming.
But we would ideally, if we could have this approved, get the playground equipment in by July so that it's ready to go for when the kiddos get back in August. So.
All right.
Need a motion?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from trustee Vela and a second from trustee Aliceda to accept the donation. All in favor signify by
Hold
saying
on.
aye.
There's discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, there is, I'm sorry. Mr. Trevino, how you doing?
Come on
Okay,
up, sir.
So they have a timeline of July. Is that feasible? Yeah, get over here, because if not, we're going to get some phone calls. I mean, do we anticipate any problem if this gets approved today, the equipment gets here, it can be up and going before school starts?
That is totally up to the contractor that they're hiring. That is not up to the district. We only oversee what work they're doing and to make sure that it's done to specs.
Okay, so if for some reason it's not done within that time, the discussion or we need to talk to is the contractor doing it?
They can always do it during school or even if school starts.
Okay.
We did that at Garza Elementary. They can just put up their safety fencing and they can do it at any time.
Yeah, no, I know that, but,
And here at Milam, they're going to be replacing the old wooden structure that is there.
right.
So they've got the perimeter, they've got the base, they've got everything already there, which is a majority of the work.
I have a question. The wooden section, is that the one right behind the steps, the little,
Yes.
okay, if memory serves me correct, and I could be wrong, my wife says I am, that project was donated by a family whose son passed away. His name was Jason Morrow. We're doing away with that?
I have no idea. I didn't know about that.
I believe that the area that was donated was a concrete structure.
It's a different,
It's a different,
No, it's not. I was,
somewhere, but it's playground and the standard.
So it's-
Maybe a rededication.
Yeah, plaque on a rededication.
if it is,
Has to be addressed.
yeah, it needs to be addressed, just if it is, and I'm sure it's not a problem, but I know that family well. Well, I grew up with one of the brothers, and I remember when that donation was made. So if it is, and I could be wrong, it could have just been the concrete structure, but if it was the wooden structure, which, you know, something tells me it was, just if we could do that, that would really, you know, that would really be the right thing to do.
Rededicate the new playground
Right.
equipment to that.
If that's the case. I don't think your PTO would have a problem with that. I don't think the parents would have.
No, absolutely.
Just, that's all I want to clarify.
I appreciate it.
All right. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
With that being said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And the motion carries
Thank you all.
6-0. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Y'all have any money left over there?
We continue on our regular board agenda, item 8B3, the report regarding taxes collected for May 2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Ms. Garcia will report on the monthly taxes collected by the Hidalgo County Tax Office on behalf of McAllen ISD for May 2017. This is for information only. Ms. Garcia.
Good evening. The May 2017 tax collection report is included in your packet. The total amount collected was $617,035.89. In terms of the current collections, the county has collected 95.69% of the tax roll, and in regard to 2015 and prior years, delinquent tax attorney has collected 30.46%. We have one more month remaining in the quarter. And we reached out to the firm of Linebarger and asked them if they're still in line to meet with their 33% collection goal, and they assured us that they were in line for that. That's roughly they have about another $160,000 to go for this coming next report. Are there any questions on the report?
Any questions, comments? Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item 8B4, the report regarding the monthly financial and investment report for May 2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, Ms. Garcia will continue with the report regarding monthly financials for 2017.
The report contains two sections. First, it has the comparison of budget to revenues and expenditures and encumbrances, where it identifies the previous year approved budget as well as year-to-date actual expenditures, and then 16-17 approved budget and year-to-date actual expenditures through May 31st, 2017. In regards to revenues, we are at 189 million so far, and we have 221 million in expenditures. Revenues over expenditures are 32 million. And that is as a result of expenditures being made throughout the year. And then on the financial report, this is our monthly investment report that is provided to us from Patterson and Associate, and on there it details our portfolio. Interest rates have increased, and as a matter of fact, this past week we also had an announcement from the Fed for another increase in interest rate, the rate that banks lend money to each other. In regards to our portfolio summary management report, our beginning book value was 106 million, and our ending book value is 95.8 million. And this decrease is as a result of inflows and outflows as expenditures are being made throughout the district. Our average yield to maturity is 0.892, which is lower than the 180-day Treasury bill. We have not done any new investments at the time because we were anticipating the possibility of the state delaying our foundation school payment in August. So we were, building up our cash, our daily
reserves, liquidity,
so that in anticipation of that move, if that were the case. We do meet on a quarterly basis as an investment committee, and each time we're refining our investment strategies and making adjustments as we see. Interest earnings for the period we're doing very well in terms of our year-to-date earnings. For the period, we have interest earnings through May 31st of $77,361.84. Fiscal year-to-date is $686,002.05. So we're looking forward to, especially with this increases in interest earnings recent, we're looking forward to what next year will bring, hopefully even higher than what we've achieved this year. That concludes the financial report.
Any questions for Ms. Garcia? Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item 9A, the approval of human resource recommendations for the school year 2017-2018. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of recommendations under separate cover for discussion during closed session, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Alvarado, a second by Trustee Suarez. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. 9B, the Human Resource Employee resignations for school year 2016-2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Human Resources is submitting a list of resignations for the 2016-2017 school year under separate cover for discussion during closed session, and this item is for information only.
Excellent. Thank you very much, sir. Item 9C, approval of the Elementary Language Arts Coordinator. Dr. Gonzalez?
Yes, sir. Administration recommends action on Teresa Tredla for the position of Elementary Language Arts Coordinator.
So
I have a motion by Mr. Suarez. Second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Aliceda. Any questions? All right. No questions being had. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Congratulations, Ms. Tredla. Item 9D, approval of the repurposed job description for accounting coordinator, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Administration continues to clarify or carefully review all positions to maximize operational efficiencies, and we have identified operational realignment opportunity and are repurposing the staff accountant job description to the accounting coordinator job description, and we are requesting action on this item.
All right.
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Alvarado,
Second.
second by Trustee Vela. Do we have any questions? All right, all in favor of the approval of the repurposed job description for accounting coordinator signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 9E, pending or potential litigation. Mr. Crane.
No report at this time.
Good for you.
Excellent. Item 9F, possible real estate acquisition. Mr. Crane.
Make your day even better. No report.
You're the man with the plan.
Thank you, sir. We move on to item 10A1, approval of the advanced course list for UIL No Pass, No Play, 2017-2018. Dr. Gonzalez.
Board policy FM local grade exemptions for advanced courses allows high school principal to remove a suspension from extracurricular activities for a student who receives a grade below 70 if certain stipulations are met, and the district is required to maintain a board approval list of all courses that qualify as advanced courses for UIL No Pass, No Play exemptions, and we are requesting action on this item.
There's no changes from last year, Dr. Bada, right? Okay, so moved.
We have a motion by Trustee
Second.
Alvarado, second by Trustee Suarez. Any questions, comments, concerns? All right, with
Quick question.
Trustee Esparza.
Do you know how many times this was utilized?
Yes.
I don't have the exact numbers. I did reach out to the high school principals today, and they gave me, two of them responded. One of them was 58 at one high school, at another one is approximately 60 for the entire year. Every 6 weeks, students can request an exemption, so it totals to approximately 60 per year per high school, based on the two schools. But I can get you the exact information.
On average, 10 per
On
6
average.
weeks.
Yes, sir.
65 or higher.
Yes, 60, between 65 and 69.
Middle schools, too.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Mr. Esparza? All right, we have a motion by Trustee Alvarado, a second by Trustee Suarez. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10A2, the approval of the Memorandum of Understanding, number 2016-015, Region 1, ESC Adult Education Literacy Program. Dr. Gonzalez.
Region 1 Education Service Center works together with school districts and with all segments from early childhood to adult learners. And one program is the Adult Education Program, which offers classes to individuals 16 years or older who want to earn their GEDs or learn English. And the district partnership they work with the evening centers at the Crockett Complex. So we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Suarez.
Second.
Second by Trustee Vela. Any questions or comments? None being heard, all in favor of the approval of the Memorandum of Understanding number 2016-015 with the Region 1 Education Service Center Adult Education Literacy Program signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10A3, approval of sole source number 2017-045, Certiport for testing services. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district's Career and Technology Education Department utilizes Microsoft Office Specialist Program through Centerport, who offers certification assessment and testing services, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, Board?
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Vela and a second by Trustee Aliceta. Any comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Item 10A4, approval of the interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-007, Quinta Mazatlan agreements for 3rd, 5th, 7th high school AP Environmental Science and Aquatic Science. Dr. Gonzalez.
The district utilizes the agreement with Quinta Mazatlan to allow schools to take students on field trips where they learn about local ecosystems and habitats, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Suarez, a second by Trustee Aliceta. All in favor? Any discussion, comments, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it 5-0. Item 10A5, approval of sole source number 2017-050, Voyager Sopris Learning Incorporated, materials and professional development for the dyslexia program. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The McAllen Independent School District has a comprehensive dyslexia plan, a handbook of instructional strategies to modify instruction and dyslexia lab at each campus, and as per screening and assessment guidelines, students that qualify for the program and receive these supplementary services to address their specific needs of students with dyslexia characteristics, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda.
Second.
Second by trustee Suarez. Any questions, comments, discussion? Yes, sir, trustee Suarez.
Can you elaborate on the difference of what's going to be done in the future as opposed to what's been done in the past?
One of the things that we're going to do that's different this year to service dyslexia students is we're going to take a K 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 grade teacher, and we're going to educate them, and we're going to create an environment where they get some additional training on servicing the dyslexia child, so that every elementary school has a campus-based team that understands how to service dyslexia students. And then, so if we have a cohort of teachers that understand it, not only can they help educate their staff, but we can also make sure that higher need dyslexia students are in those particular teachers' classrooms, so that should help.
So here's my question. We're going to assume that if the kid has been identified, the child has been identified, they'll be in that teacher's classroom?
That's the assumption.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that a good idea would be the following year to train another teacher?
We're going to have a K through 5 teacher trained.
All at one time?
All at one time.
Right, so next year, so this K 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have been trained. Next year, we train 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that now at each campus now we have two. And the reason being is, let's say I have a kid who's identified, that is identified, but he's also GT. So what happens then?
The training is actually the twice exceptional child, so we're going to teach how to not only teach the gifted child, but simultaneously how to teach the dyslexic child. So it's kind of one and the same. It's a good idea. We haven't looked that far down the road, but that's something that we can definitely consider. We were originally thinking to train that same group, and that would be the trainer team.
Yeah, my suggestion, just the trend that I've seen, and through visiting campuses and talking to parents, is this is a growing concern. I think one of the biggest concerns too is when we're able to identify these kids. Sometimes, some parents think it's too late, and so a lot of parents don't even know about it. So my suggestion, is to do exactly what you're doing, but perhaps the following year, add another group of teachers, and it just makes it easier on everyone else.
That's something we'll definitely consider, sir. Thank you.
I have a question.
Trustee Aliceda.
So the training for this, does it come out of special ed, or does it come out of GT or the general fund? It just occurred to me right now when he was saying that. So if we have the gifted and talented students in there, sitting in the ARD, is it going to be mandatory that the grade, like let's say you have a first grader who's GT, but the first grader that we trained is not the GT teacher, who's going to be in the ARD?
Well,
the trained person, the GT?
Many of our dyslexic children don't qualify for special education. A lot of them are covered under Section 504. So that's a different group. But as far as the training, we're pulling that out of local funds, correct? Yes.
But 504, you still have ARDs, correct?
No, there's not ARDs.
But like accommodations type meetings?
Yeah, there's accommodation meetings, but it's not part of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. It's a Civil Rights Act. So really, it's the same thing. You're trying to create an environment where you create an accommodation plan for the child based on their condition. And one of the things we're doing with 504 also is that we're reaching out to parents because they're not required to attend 504 meetings like ARD meetings, but in McAllen ISD, we're going to open up the doors to parents that want to take part in their children's 504 accommodation meetings so that we can get their input. So that's something that we're looking at moving into the future. So it's local funds, and it's really trying to hit the whole spectrum, whether you're regular ed, GT, 504, dyslexic, and in very rare cases, special ed dyslexic.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
No, sir.
With that being said, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 4-0. Let's move on to item 10A6, that is the approval of sole source number 2017-057, International Baccalaureate North America fees, materials and training for the International Baccalaureate programs at Dr. Pablo Perez Elementary, Theodore Roosevelt Elementary, Francisca Alvarez Elementary, Alonso de Leon Middle School, and Lamar Academy. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The IB organization, North America, is the sole source for the copyrighted international primary year and middle year programs, and the district utilizes IBO products in the IB program to make rigorous college-level academic content available to our students, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by trustee Suarez and a second by trustee Aliceta. Any questions or comments?
No, sir.
With that being said, all in favor of the approval of sole source number 2017-057 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10A7, approval of sole source number 2017-027, Sharon Wells Consulting Services and Materials for 2nd through 5th grade teachers. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district utilizes Sharon Wells Consulting Services for professional development and instructional resources for teachers, and Sharon Wells Consulting is the sole source provider of these copyrighted materials that are aligned to the state instructional and assessment standards, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
I have a motion by trustee Vela, a second by trustee Suarez. Any questions, discussion?
Since we, Dr. Gonzalez, adopted this late last year, is it the same amount or is it a little different? Were we prorated or we had to pay for the last year when we adopted it? Are we paying the same amount?
It's the same amount because
Okay.
we got all the services. Even though we started a little bit late, we still.
Just a couple weeks
implemented the
late, right?
training.
3 or 4 weeks?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Trustee Aliceta.
If I could just elaborate a little bit, being on the curriculum committee, there was a question about what we're doing for math for K through K and first, and where that was coming from. We already have budgeted, it's called Texting towards STAR. And there were some campuses that wanted to use the Pearl, it's Pearlized Math. And so this coming year, they were going to have to take it out of their own school funds, and then the following year, right, we would come back and then the district would take it. So regardless if you're a STEAM or an IB campus, you have the ability to add a supplemental math, the Pearlized Math, but the district is paying for the Sharon Wells, 2nd through 5th, and the district is paying for the Texting towards STAR, K and first.
That's correct.
Thank you for that clarification, ma'am.
And just Dr. Gonzalez, as far as the scores, the test scores for elementary did go up.
Yes, sir. We're very pleased with the effort that our teachers and students put in. We got a good return on our investment. We're excited about what's happening with elementary math, really math all the way across the board, but we believe that we're getting a great return, and teachers have given us great reviews.
+2, +5, +2 3rd grade, right? +5 5th grade? And then compared to the region where we were higher also?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10A8, approval of revision of previously approved proclamation 2017 instructional materials for 2017-2018 career and technical education, grades 7 through 12, and languages other than English, grades 7 through 12. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district is requesting board approval of the revision to include the addition of a textbook for a CTE forensic science course. We are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceta.
Second.
Second by trustee Vela. Any questions?
Looks good.
None being said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10A9, approval of agreement number 2017-060, Community Youth Development Grant, CYD. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This agreement is necessary to implement our STEAM Plus initiatives after school and reduce juvenile delinquency by providing mentoring and academic support services and recreational activities, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, board?
So moved.
I have a motion by trustee Vela.
Second.
Second by trustee Alvarado. Any questions?
Just to clarify, this program is already ongoing.
Yes, sir.
It's effective, going well.
It's going very well. It's being, we're hosting it at Lincoln Middle School, and we're serving 130 students from 5 different elementaries and from Lincoln.
Any other questions, comments? None being said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Moving on to item 10B, human resource items. Number 1, approval of the Memorandum of Understanding, number 2017-036, Hidalgo County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program. Dr. Gonzalez.
The MOU with Hidalgo County concerning JJAEP is to comply with the requirements of Section 37.011 of the Texas Education Code, and we are requesting action on this item.
With that being said, Board?
So moved.
Have a motion by Trustee Suarez,
Second.
second by Trustee Vela. Any questions or comments? That being said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Trustee Esparza did not say that he would abstain.
That's no issue.
Item 10B2, approval of the request for proposal number 2017-049, student accident insurance and student accident voluntary insurance. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This contract is for the student accident insurance and student accident voluntary insurance for district student enrolled in sports, and we are requesting action on this item.
That being said, Board, what you say?
So moved.
I have a motion from Trustee Suarez,
Second.
second by Trustee Vela. Any questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign.
I abstained.
The ayes have it, 5-0, one abstention. Let the record show that Trustee Alvarado abstained from item 10B2. Moving on to item 10C1, District Operations. Number 1, approval of interlocal cooperative number 2017-034, Region 1 Child Nutrition Program, South Texas Cooperative, and reporting of management fees. Dr. Gonzalez.
The Child Nutrition Program utilizes this cooperative as a resource to purchase food and non-food items and supplemental services to support meal programs of the district, and we are requesting action on this item.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Alvarado.
Second.
Second by Trustee Vela. Any questions, comments? None being heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10C2, approval of requests for proposal, number 2016-108, sale of vending machine beverages. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. This contract provides the district with full-service vending machines for soft drinks, bottled water, and sports drinks from one exclusive supplier, and we are requesting action on this item.
Dr. Gonzalez, just so that we're clear, this is a request for proposal, so we'll open it up to the different distributors.
We're requesting action.
It's one exclusive supplier. We give the contract to one company. In this case, it's Pepsi.
Okay, it's PepsiCo.
It's not a request for proposal, it's a contract.
Well, it was sent out as a request for proposal, and we're consequently, after it's been evaluated, selected Pepsi as the contractor, and we're seeking approval of that contract.
Okay. What say you, Board?
Couple questions, you don't mind?
We'll need a motion before we can.
I'll move.
We have a motion by Trustee Suarez.
Pepsi's the choice of the new generation.
Can I get a second?
I moved.
I got it. Okay, I'm sorry.
He seconded.
Trustee Vela with the motion, Trustee Suarez with the second. Mr. Alvarado.
Memory serves is correct, at the stadium this past year, it was Coke products, right?
That is correct. This is exclusive to the vending machines.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the,
Either at the football stadium or any place where concessions are sold, this deals only with the machines.
we're still just doing the waters, the Gatorades?
Waters in the hallway, Gatorade and other drinks, soft drinks are in the lounge areas.
Okay, thank you. No questions, sir.
All right, any further questions? With that being said, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it, 6-0. Item 10D1, approval of the McAllen Independent School District June budget amendment for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016, ending June 30th, 2017. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. We recommend approval of the June 2017 budget amendment for the 2016-2017 fiscal year, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, Board?
So moved.
I have a motion from trustee Alvarado,
Second.
second from trustee Vela. Any questions, comments, discussion? None being heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10D2, approval of MISD Policy D, Local A Compensation and Benefits Expense Reimbursement. This is the second reading. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. As discussed in the previous board meeting, the district is requesting the approval of the DEE local policy update.
All right, what say you, Board?
I'll move to approve.
Trustee Vela with the motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Suarez. Any questions, comments, concerns? None being heard, all in favor of the approval of the MISD policy, DEE Local A Compensation and Benefits Expense Reimbursement, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it, 6-0. Item 10D3, approval of the McAllen Independent School District budget for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017, ending June 30th, 2018. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The Texas Education Code and Board Policy CE requires every local education agency to prepare a budget of anticipated expenditures and revenues on or before June 19th, and the budget is to be approved by the district's Board of Trustees no later than June 30th or earlier. The official budget is comprised of the general fund, which includes food services, and the debt service fund. This is a two-motion agenda item, and we are requesting action on this item.
All right, Board. What say you?
What are the two motions?
Mr. Velez.
Mr. Vela is crafting his motion, it
No,
looks
I'm
like.
trying to get back on my.
He's trying to get back on.
Page 206.
Yes, sir. 207, actually.
I move to approve.
Well, there's two separate
There's two
motions. You
separate.
gotta read
First
them.
Probably should read it.
Yeah, you got to read them out.
You should read that out, Mr. Suarez. Here it comes.
It's
Move
right.
to approve the first part of the budget. Is that what you want to do?
No.
You want, I can this one and this.
You can clarify? To approve the accelerated instruction funds budget of $296,215, which is all-inclusive for the state mandated pay increase rate for the fiscal year being July 1st, 2017, and ending June 30th,
2008.
2018. Million, I'm sorry.
No, it's 1,000. It says 1,000.
Yeah, it says 1,000.
Oh,
Is that correct? 1,000?
Everybody's trying to correct me today.
it should say million, shouldn't it?
No.
It's million, am I
Is it a
correct?
million?
I'm sorry. For the.
It's 1,000.
Yes.
Yep, Part A is 1,000.
Part A is 1,000, yes.
Part B
Oh,
is
9 million,
millions.
sorry.
B is million.
So we have a motion for Part A by trustee Suarez.
I'll second it.
I have a second by trustee Alvarado. Any questions, comments, discussion? All in favor of the passage of Part A signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Second portion of the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the general fund budget of $235,281,400, the debt service fund budget of $9,893,200, and the capital projects fund budget of $0, and for a total budget of $245,174,600, which is all inclusive of any state mandated pay increases and/or raises for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017, and ending June 30, 2018.
Thank you, trustee Vela. A second from trustee Suarez. Any discussions, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Congratulations, guys. 5 budget workshops later, and we approve it. Item 10D4, approval of interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-001, products and services through the National Intergovernmental Purchasing Alliance Cooperative, also known as NIPA, formerly TCPN. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district utilizes this contract for the purchase of technology goods and services, as well as maintenance supplies, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, board?
So moved.
I have a motion by trustee Esparza.
Second.
Second by trustee Alvarado. Any questions, comments, concerns? None being heard, all in favor of the approval of the interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-001 signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it, 6-0. Item 10D5, approval of the interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-002, products and services through the Texas Association of School Board, TASB, by board and reporting of fees. Dr. Gonzalez.
The district utilizes TASB by board to supplement its procurement program for various goods and services, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, board?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
A motion by trustee Vela, a second by trustee Esparza. Any questions?
I have a quick.
Trustee Esparza.
That $1,600 fees, is that a percentage or is it the same this year?
Well, actually, TASB, the only time they charge us a fee is when we purchase vehicles. There's I think it's a $400, yes, it's a $400 fee per purchase order, when we buy vehicles through them. Okay. Other than that, we don't pay them a fee.
Okay.
Thank you, Trustee Esparza. Trustee Alvarado.
No, sir.
No questions. Any other questions? None being heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ayes carry it, 6-0. Item 10D6, approval of interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-003, products and services through the State of Texas Cooperative Purchasing Program, Co-op. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district has utilized the state contracts primarily for the purchase of office furniture, and we are requesting action on this item.
All right. What say you, board?
So moved.
I have a motion from trustee Esparza.
Second.
Second by trustee Vela. Any questions, comments? None being heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it, 6-0. Item 10D7, approval of interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-004, products and services through the interlocal product. Try that again. Approval of interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-004, products and services through the interlocal purchasing system, TIPS/TAPS. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, TIPS/TAPS is another great resource for the district, primarily for the purchase of technology goods and services, and we are requesting action on this item.
Thank you, sir. What say you, board?
So moved.
I have a motion by trustee Suarez, a second by trustee Vela. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Trustee Eliseda.
The anticipated revenue is actually more than, so in 2016 it was 462, 2017 it was 301. Why are you projecting it to go up to 500?
Well, we base it based on the past 2 years. We don't really, because these are open-ended contracts, it's an additional resource to our procurement program. In case, we kind of take the average of the 2 years, basically. We are not tied to that amount. If we do go over, then we bring it back to the board to correct that statement. But this allows us to make the purchases without any interruptions throughout the year.
The average there would actually be lower, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
350.
Well, we're rounding up is basically what we're doing from the 462.
So you're not taking the average.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, if you say you're taking the average of the 2 years, it would actually be 350 then, it looks like.
Yes.
For the most part, we increase it because knowing that costs do go up from time to time,
What do you
from
purchase
year
per
to
year?
year.
What is it?
This one is TIPS/TAPS. They have contracts for facilities. They have contracts for software, for instructional materials. It's very similar to some of the other co-ops. And it'll vary from year to year. It's just another resource that's available to us.
Also keeps us in check. If we were to have an emergency on the facility side, we're able to, if something unforeseen were to happen, and we'd have that option.
Well, for example, the playground equipment, the donation, the grant, we would solicit pricing through the various cooperative programs, and that's how we could very quickly get playground equipment installed versus doing our own bid, which may yield the same cost, but it's a 3-month process.
Any other discussion? None being heard, let's vote. All in favor of approval of interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-004, signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 5-0. Item 10D8, approval of interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-005, products and services through the Purchasing Association of Cooperative Entities. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The district utilizes this purchasing cooperative primarily for the purchase of goods through Amazon.com, as well as goods and services from other vendors, and we are requesting action on this item.
All right, board. What say you?
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Alvarado,
I'll second.
second by Trustee Vela. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Trustee Suarez.
Can you give us an example of stuff that you buy on Amazon?
Well, we buy cases for laptops, screen protectors, and actually, Ms. Gonzalez can probably give a better description of that because she'll see those POs come through her desk, if I may.
A lot of times we see textbooks, they're a lot cheaper than they would be at a bookstore. We can comparison on here.
You'll need to speak into the microphone, ma'am. Purchasing Director Alejandra Gonzalez stepping up to the mic.
Good evening. A lot of times we buy textbooks. We'll compare with Barnes & Noble, we'll compare with other vendors, and then the textbooks will be at a lower price. Like Ms. Garcia said, sometimes we'll buy cases for iPads. A lot of books I see, sometimes not too often, but electronics, maybe a lot of things for like Project Celebration, and then the No Siesta Fiesta were purchased through there for Memorial and McAllen's end of the year parties. It's just random stuff, but the textbooks that we have seen, any books or professional development books, are at a much lower price than they are at times like at a local or at another awarded vendors.
Is there a special page for school districts, or is it general, just like everybody else?
This is, well, you have to apply for an account. And since...
Well, because I have an account, so I'm asking.
No, it's different from...
It's a school account.
It's a school account.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay.
And only the purchasing department can place the orders.
And we've just upgraded to a business model, and with the 2-day, like the Prime free.
Right.
We're setting it up to where Amazon will be shipping directly to the campuses as long as it's not a high pilferage or anything that we tag an item. So we're working with Amazon on that business account. So we've upgraded on that route at no cost to us.
Perfect. Trustee Eliseda?
On Amazon, they have Smile.Amazon, and you get money back. Like, you can donate your money to UTRGV right now. That's what I'm doing. Is there a way, could you look into a way and seeing if we're spending $300,000, if we can get a percentage back doing that Smile.Amazon? I'll look into it. I wasn't aware of it, but I'll look into it.
But get it back to us, right?
Well, yeah, because I know, like, right now, anything I purchase on Smile.Amazon, I send it to UTRGV. So if we could have an MISD account where anything we're purchasing that much amount, we get, it's a small percentage, but still, you know, it would. I'll look into it for sure. Okay, thank you.
We do get rebates from some of these co-ops. We get checks throughout the year. Like, for example, Buy Board, they'll give us a percentage back. Of what we spend.
Yeah, because Amazon does it through Smile.Amazon. Okay, I'll look into it. Thank you.
Trustee Vela?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a big proponent of buying local, whether it's a city or school district, and we encourage buying local wherever we can. I realize, however, that sometimes price is doesn't allow us to buy local. Do we have a threshold that would send us to a different seller like Amazon?
We've developed thresholds throughout the district. For instance, at 3,000, they would need to give us 2 quotes, as long as they're obtaining quotes from either, if it's going to be a co-op, from 2 different co-ops. And so Amazon is on one, so they'd get a quote from Amazon and then from somewhere else. And if the amount is over 10,000, it's 3 quotes are required.
So
From
there-
Amazon.
Well, 3 quotes in general, to comparison, to have a comparison. That way we're giving, we usually do look locally, like especially with books, because the proximity, we can get them quicker, but we just go for the best value and of course the best.
And I realize a book, because you're buying from a national distributor who may have a retail outlet in our vicinity, and I understand that's not really local. It is, but it isn't, and you're not paying tax
Right.
on it, so you're not hurting the city on it anyway. But if there's an item that we can get from a locally owned outlet that maybe they'll compete with Amazon, I'm just wondering if we have those thresholds in place and/or a list of those small-time businesses that we can buy from.
Many times, if they call us for suggestions, if they don't know what vendors to use, we will recommend whomever we know that we're aware of that carry that particular item that they're looking for.
Okay.
So we recommend vendors, and then we always provide them with the awarded vendor list. So if those smaller stores are on there, we would definitely make that available to them. Sometimes they do come to us already with the quotes. A lot of departments already know, and so they've already done the research on their own. But we definitely suggest.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Esparza.
There's only 1 year comparison, or is this the first time this will be the second year we've used them? We didn't use them prior to 16, 17 school year?
Amazon?
Yes.
The PACE co-op.
As far as since I've been around, which has only been about a year, it's been around since then, but.
I'm just saying because they only gave 1 year's estimate of cost.
No, I believe that they were used prior to that. We can get you the history if you'd like.
Yes, if you could.
Okay.
Any further questions? None being said, all in favor of approval of interlocal cooperative agreement number 2017-005 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10D9, approval of request for proposal number 2017-016, travel agent services. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Staff and student travel for professional learning and competitions may at times require the use of travel agent services. We are requesting action on this item.
What say you, board?
So moved.
I have a motion from Trustee Aliceta.
Second.
Second by Trustee Esparza. Any questions, comments? None being heard. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The ayes carry it, 6-0. Item 10D10, approval of agreement for request for qualifications, number 2016-096, General Legal Counsel Services. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. Tonight we bring forth the negotiated legal services agreement with Atlas Hall and Rodriguez LLP, and we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, board?
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Suarez, a second by Trustee Vela.
Second.
Any questions?
I have a quick couple comments.
Trustee Esparza.
Lorena, I know we talked about this, and this one is a 1 year contract with an option to renew for 4 additional years, right?
Additional.
Atlas and Hall and Rodriguez is proposing automatically renew under the same terms and conditions for 4 successive 1-year terms unless the district decides to terminate sooner than that.
But we don't, and I know it's just a 1 year contract with the option to do, but it kind of sounds like a 5 year, but it's not a 5 year contract. It's just a 1 year to renew for 4 additional years. But we don't do that with anybody else, do we? Most of them are 1 year with the option to renew for 2 additional years for a total of 3?
Actually, no, sir. It's actually the reverse. Most of our contracts, back in 2014, the board had directed us to go look at multi-year contracts, and I had prepared a report that Ms. Lopez delivered on my behalf, where we reported that most of our contracts have been awarded on a multi-year basis with annual renewal options, which is what you're referencing. And at that time, the direction from the board was to do the 3-year or fixed term, and then not to bring them back until the contract had ended and we had rebid it. So that was the direction back in 2014. And we still had some contracts that were, had the 1+1+1 renewal options. So what we told the board on that report was that as those contracts were phased out, that we would bring them back, we would bid them as a multi-year contract. And so in 2016, that issue came up again, and we were asked to go back. And as a matter of fact, at that point, Ms. Gonzalez is the one that did that report in September 2016, which was a follow-up to the 2014 report. And she brought a report to the board where she outlined how many multi-year contracts we had. And I did a quick check today. So far, out of, we have probably about, I would say, 200 bids that are currently awarded. 7 of those are with renewal options. So the vast majority are fixed term. Multi-year, longer than 3, we do have several. And some examples of that is our scoreboard, which is 10-year, our depository contract. That one is a 6-year maximum, but it's 2 years at a time, renewal options. Our leases, we've had uniform rentals, uniform rentals that are 5 years. Vehicle leases, chiller service agreements, and in prior years, we've had financial advisors and bond counsel services that have been 5-year fixed terms. E-rate is another, telecommunication services, because the infrastructure is so expensive, so it's a fixed term. So those are some of the examples that are similar to this.
But those aren't really similar. I mean, they're not contract services, are they?
I mean, similar to the term structure.
Okay. As far as contracted services, professional contract, we don't have any that are
currently
for up to 5 years.
In the past, professional, I would say currently, no. Yes, actually, I'm sorry. Special ed attorney, legal services is a 3-year fixed.
So it's 3?
3-year fixed. Internal audit, Cindy, is 3 years as well, 3-year fixed.
Again, but nobody's going out 5 years, is what I'm saying, right?
No, the reason we did this one 5 years is because the previous one was a 5-year, so we repeated the same process.
Steve, are we getting a better rate at going 5 years as opposed to 3?
I would love to have the rate you're getting because it hasn't changed for like 8 to 10 years.
I'm sorry?
I'd love to have the rate you're getting because it hasn't changed for 8 to 10 years. I'll propose if you want to go the other way, I'll charge you my regular standard rate.
So you're saying if we go 3 years, you're going to raise the fee?
I'm saying if you want to vary, I think you're getting a great deal right now. You're paying way below market rate.
But I'm saying, you're saying that if we go 3, you're going to change the rate?
No, I wasn't saying that. I said you're getting a
it sounded like what
deal.
you were saying. If you were saying that, then maybe we could go out and redo this again. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm just saying you're getting a great deal right now.
I don't want to appear that we're showing any type of favoritism, because we don't do that. It doesn't sound like we do that for anybody else, as far as the option to renew for 5 additional,
Well, you have the ability to terminate on 30 days notice.
Yeah, I understand that. We don't do it for anybody else, is what I'm saying.
Basically, I think the advantage to y'all is you're locking the rate in for 5 years.
Okay, just some questions if anybody.
Any further questions? Trustee Eliseda.
I was just saying the budgeted funds is $230,000, and last year we only spent $206,000 on that line item.
I can address it if you want to.
No, I'm just saying we were under it,
yeah.
so it's a good rate. You're right.
Any further questions, comments? All right. All in favor of the approval of agreement for request for qualifications, number 2016-096, General Legal Counsel Services, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And the ayes carry it 6-0. Thank you very much. Item 10D11, approval of the interlocal cooperative agreement, number 2017-040, technology, products, and services through the Texas Department of Information Resources, the DIR. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. The DIR is a purchasing cooperative established by statute that allows districts and other agencies to leverage economies of scale in the procurement of technology resources and services. And we are requesting action on this item.
What say you, board?
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Vela, a second by Trustee Esparza. Any questions, comments, discussion? None being heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same size. The ayes have it, 6-0. Item 10DE, superintendent's items. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. I provided you all with a copy of our data with regard to how we performed against ourselves and how we performed against the region. And the slide up there is small, you can't read, but you should have a hard copy in front of you. And I didn't want to go through every line of this, but I did want to first and foremost congratulate the staff and the students for their outstanding performance. If you look at the growth that we put forth with regard to how we competed against ourselves, the columns to the left, as you see, is the 2016 compared to 2017 McAllen ISD against McAllen ISD. And you'll see that the approaches column is the area where students met standard. That first is saying students passed. Then you move over to the light blue, and that's saying you can correlate the light blue to a high B or a low A. And the third column, the dark blue, the masters, you can correlate that to a high A where a student missed 1, 2 questions, maybe 3, or a perfect score. So that's very, very high performing. Again, I'm not going to go through it all in detail, but I will go through, let's look at math. If you look at 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade math, for example, you'll see some growth there. Where in 3rd grade, we grew by 2 points, in 4th grade by 6 points, and in 5th grade by 5 points. And if you go back to 3rd grade, that you can see, if you go over to the light blue column, we had an 8-point gain on students that were scoring at the high B, low A area, and we had a 10-point gain on students that were missing 1, 2, or 3 questions, or even a perfect score. And you see that across the continuum if you look at the different content areas. You do see some areas where we decreased. For example, if you look at 7th grade math, you'll see that against ourselves from 16 to 17, we did dip by 1 point. So that's an area that we're going to address. If you look at 6th grade reading, for example, we dipped by 5 points. But if you go across, all the way across to the black line, the thick black line that takes you into the right columns where it says McAllen ISD against the district, you'll see that in 6th grade reading, although we dipped by 5 points against ourselves, if you go all the way across and you compare us to the region, you'll see that we outscored the region by 6 points. So that's trying to find a positive in a situation where we regressed, and we do have a plan to increase that. But we're very, very proud of our scores. If you look at 7th grade reading against ourselves, we increased by 9 points, and that's a tremendous gain. We're very, very proud of our students and staff. If you take that 7th grade reading and you go all the way across how we performed against the region, you'll see that we were 10 points above the region, which is phenomenal. It says that our academic program is being very, very successful. And keep in mind that our 7th grade teachers are teaching both reading and writing simultaneously. So if you look at 7th grade writing, for example, against ourselves, you'll see a 3-point gain. And if you take it all the way across how we did against the region, you'll see an 8-point gain. But you go further against the region and how we competed with them on students that scored in the light blue, the meets level, it was a 12-point above the region. And if you take it all the way across on 7th grade writing, for example, you'll see a +7 against the region on students that scored a perfect score or missed 1, 2, or 3. So we're very proud of our 7th grade ELA teachers as they teach both reading and writing. Exceptional growth across. The same thing in science, 8th grade science and 8th grade social studies. You'll see that we outdid ourselves with regard from 16 to 17 as a district, but then we also outdid the region. We see, if you go across now to the right and you see how we did against the region, you'll see solid green for the most part, except for 5th grade math and except for 5th grade science with regard to the region. So once again, I do want to commend the teachers. I want to commend the students. I want to commend this board for your vision and for keeping the district moving in a positive direction. And you all can look at this when you have time in more detail and ask us any questions you might have right now. But if you go down to the bottom part, you'll see district totals, and you'll see the sum of all scores and how we increased by 1 point in the approaches. And then you'll see the light blue, how we increased by 4 points. And then you go across to the dark blue district totals, and we increased by 3 points. So it just proves that our academic program is being successful, and it proves that our teachers are working very hard, and most importantly, that our students are having academic value added to them. So once again, extremely proud of our students, extremely proud of our staff, and we look forward to continued growth as we move into the future. And at this point, I'd answer any questions that you might have regarding our scores with regard to how we competed against ourselves and how we competed against the region.
Any questions for Dr. Gonzalez?
Everything looks good. Just, and not, I don't want to harp on, because you did outstanding, just on the math, what jumps out at y'all for 7th grade math? Is it the number of our kids taking algebra at that age, or it's just?
Yes. That's one, and I think we just need to provide more support to our teachers to ensure that as we're delivering our instruction, that we're differentiating to meet the different learning styles.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that we've done is we are bringing block to 7th grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math next year. So these students in 7th grade next year are going to have 108 minutes of mathematics. So that should help tremendously as we try to go deeper, because every year the standard goes up. So if you look at, we're out competing ourselves as a standard, as the bar raises, our students and staff are still performing at a higher level. So that just shows that our academic program is working very well, because it's not really an apples to apples comparison. When you look at last year's test and this year's test, it was more rigorous. I guess the standard was higher, and we still outcompeted ourselves. And then the region, I know that Region 1 is the most successful region in the state. So, and that's based on, if you remember our board training where Dr. Lara pointed out that Region 1 is outcompeting the rest of the regions in our state. So when you can outcompete Region 1, that means that your academic program is being very, very successful. So we're proud of our efforts, we're proud of our region, but most importantly, we're proud of our students.
I just wanted to add at the very bottom, when you see those totals, when y'all got to see the sneak preview of the new accountability that we got a B in domain 1 and an A in domain 2 and an A, that exactly is how that point system goes. So when you see us with a +3 on the dark blue and then a +2, that's exactly how that mathematic goes. For every student that passes, it's 1 point. And then every student that passed at that baby blue, well, they'll give that student another point. And then the students that went, so anytime that we're growing the right, it's like picking the GPA up. The more A's you make, the higher the GPA. And so the more B's you make, and then the least, if we had 100% of the students in the district pass at the green, 100%, you would receive a D by the state in accountability. That's how the math goes, because that would be 66%. But, so, yes, you want everyone passing, but if there's four parts to division, you don't want 1/3 of division learned. You want 100%. So mastery is always the key to that. And that is why this accountability has been fought so bad, but it's been like the business wants A through F, and education wants not A through F. And so this really is a really rigorous, the system that we have is very in tune to be mathematically successful in that A through F domain accountability.
Any other comments, questions? Dr. Gonzalez, any more to your report?
We do have the summer feeding program. We have a short video that we'd like to show as well. Norma, do we have that up?
In McAllen ISD, we treat children like family. Teaching and nurturing is year-round. That includes serving meals. In McAllen ISD, students receive free breakfast and lunch each day. After all, studies have shown that healthy students tend to perform better in school. But what happens once school is out for summer? No problem. That's when the McAllen ISD Summer Feeding Program steps up. The Summer Feeding Program provides free, delicious meals throughout the summer. Meals are prepared in the district's modern central kitchen. These meals are fresh and served while hot.
Because we have the state-of-the-art central kitchen facility, all our meals can come out pre-packaged. The only meals that are prepared on site are our summer school sites. All the other meals are pre-packaged here at the central kitchen. They're hermetically sealed before they leave here to maintain temperature and avoid any cross-contamination, and then served on site.
Each site serves meals twice per day, but children have the opportunity for up to 4 meals per day. This includes breakfast, lunch, a snack, and dinner. This program is for all children up through 18 years old. No ID or proof of residency is needed. Just show up with an appetite.
Thank you very much. Do want to thank our food service department, and once again, congratulations to all the students and all the staff in McAllen ISD for producing some great results. We're looking forward to a very bright future as we put our academic program into play further, and also I know that our high schools, we have retesters and things of that sort, so we're waiting for that information. So we're looking forward to the complete data coming in so that we can share the complete story with the board. But once again, thank you to the board for everything you do for us.
Kudos to you and the team, Dr. Gonzalez, and a big round of applause for all of our teachers and students that are putting these numbers up. We appreciate their support. All right, moving on to item 11, the schedule of future events. 11A, future meetings, July 31st, 2017, special board meeting, 5:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. 11B, August 14th, 2017, special board meeting, 4 p.m. That's a level 3 grievance. 11C, August 14th, regular board meeting at 5 p.m. 11D, August 21st, special board meeting, 6 p.m. That'll be our superintendent evaluation. 11E, August 28th, regular board meeting at 5 p.m. And 11F, August 28th, special board meeting, 6:15. That's our public comment session. There is no need to go to closed session.
To clarify, I'm sorry, Mr. President, when's the last day for administration? Dr. Gonzalez?
23rd, sir.
That's when you'll shut down?
Yes, sir.
And when do you open again?
22nd.
I'm sorry,
July
is it the 22nd?
Thursday.
Okay, sorry about that, 22nd.
Wait, 22nd, you shut down.
And then we come back.
22nd is the last day.
Okay, I'll call all of y'all on the 21st.
And then you come back on July 12th.
Wednesday, July the 12th.
Thank you.
Therefore, being no other business to take care of this evening, can I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
I have a motion by Trustee Alvarado, second by Trustee Esparza. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting is now adjourned at 8:29 p.m.
Put on your pony cap, baby.